Hello and welcome to Needing a Meeting. My name is Carol. I will be your host today. Hello, a Rolling Stone. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Say hello in the chat if you'd like to. Today, we're going to be covering a specific topic. Nobody yet, Rolling Stone. It's going to be we're going to be covering the subject of food struggles, food addiction. There are going to be some other people coming in, and I will post the link here. And that's what we will be talking about today. All right. Hello, Mary Jones. Hi, Rose. Hi, Rolling Stone again. Hi, Ben. Hey, Stasia.
Hi.
How are ya?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing okay.
Good. And Christy said she'll be a couple minutes late. She's getting the dogs in.
Right on.
Yeah.
Hello, Chris, Lord Kiss Freak. Hi, Just Pauline. Welcome. Thank you for being here. So yeah, Christy's been doing her homework and she's come up with some stuff that she didn't know about anorexia.
Yes.
And hey, Rebecca.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. And can I stay, Stasia? I know you've had a lot of stuff going on, but you're looking fabulous. Extra fabulous today.
Thank you. I was like, you know what? It's going to make me feel better putting on some makeup.
I understand.
Hey, Rose.
I am going to clip a quilt.
Hello.
Finding.
Are you getting any feedback? Because I don't have earphones. It's coming straight through.
I'm not getting any feedback, but you are very faint. So
Okay.
maybe just move a little closer to either your computer or phone so that we can hear you a little better. Hello, Shannon Smith.
Yep,
Welcome. Hello,
Hello.
Just Pauline. Hello, Pup Grimmer. Good to see you.
Fun seeing all the names today.
Yes. So pretty much, my struggles with food have been linked with my depression, which I've had my whole life. And when I hit menopause, I had been resisting getting on any kind of medication. Hello, Anik. Hi, Subi. I had been resisting getting on any kind of medication, but then menopause hit and I didn't have a choice. I could not function at all, and it's a physically debilitating thing. And
Hey, Christy.
How are you guys?
Hello, Christy.
Then I can't seem to make myself eat. I do make myself eat because I've been in that position of, skipping eating to the point of no more hunger for days.
Yep.
Christy.
Yep.
Hey, can you guys hear me and see me okay? I'm trying to.
Yes. Yeah, I can see you. I can hear you. Hello, Cosmic.
Is
Hi,
that
Debbie
right?
Doodles.
There we go.
Beautiful quilt, Rebecca.
Thank you. This is called Amelie, and it's made out of like sewing fabrics. And I'm finally, it's a UFO.
Oh,
I do love the name UFO for unfinished object.
That's cute.
Love it.
And so this is a quilt. I did the quilt top. I'm backing it with fleece, and I saw the binding on it, so I'm just going to turn it over so that it's ready to go through and be finished. And then it can go to somebody else because I do not need this.
It's so beautiful.
It is very beautiful.
Thank you.
I'll be right back.
That might be a bit better.
Yeah.
Hey, Cosmic.
Hey, Cosmic.
Great to see you.
Hey.
Full of hope.
Now that I've got the
Hi,
earphones
Annie.
in,
huh?
I'm on the mic and I've got the earphones in. So is my audio okay for you now?
Definitely. Yeah, that did help.
Awesome. Awesome.
So how's everybody doing today?
I got the
Waiting
brains.
game, and it's hard, but oh well.
I'm struggling, and I don't want to describe too much, but I'm realizing I have recently been triggered by someone who I know who's trans, who trans male. So they were born a female, and then of course all the issues that you grow up with. If you're a woman, the stuff that the traumas, all the stuff, and just finding out that this person has lost friends because the ex-partner has accused them of abusing them.
Oh wow.
And so I'm struggling a little bit with knowing the ex-partner and knowing that there was issues and that there was things that were volatile and that weren't great. And I can't fix it all. And I am struggling a little with that because, the empath is like taking on all the stuff.
Yeah.
And trying very hard not to.
Right.
So that's the other reason I'm like, Rebecca, you finished occupational therapy. You are going to like fondle fabric because fondling fabric will make you feel better.
Perfect.
I get that totally.
Yeah.
It's the trigger part, I think, and the hard part is having been abused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that whole, and it feels like it's the opposite way. And it's another woman, and my friend has lost friends, and all the stuff that so I'm struggling a little bit with that, but I have a quilt.
Right on.
Fondling fabric.
And I can see that does make you happy. That's amazing.
Yes. Yes.
I'm taking the pins out because now that it's quilted, does anybody need a quilt?
I will definitely be
Yeah, but
talking
the
to you
cost
once
to
I find a place.
So
The cost to Australia might be a bit prohibitive.
Maybe. Yes. Yes. Goodness.
That's a good point and unfortunate, but
yeah. So Carol, I would say that like if talking about, tonight's topic, I struggled the same way that I think you described.
Mhm.
So for me, it was mainly situational, how I was feeling. And in this past relationship, if it was a fight, I wasn't eating. And then when we were done the fight, it would take me a couple of days to get back to normal, small amounts of food. And then it would be like binge eating after. So I wouldn't for me, it's both sides kind of. So, yeah, but it's completely situational. Like I wouldn't say that on a regular basis, I'm intentionally not eating. But I've also intermittent fasted for so long before Rowan that I can't eat breakfast anymore. Like it just doesn't happen.
Okay.
And like by the time lunchtime rolls around, okay, I can eat a small meal, and then dinner is the meal I can eat.
Wow.
So I think I screwed myself a little bit with the fasting.
well, and I've done the intermittent fasting as well. Go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't think it matters as long as you're getting enough during the day. You don't necessarily have to have 3 meals.
Okay.
So pushing yourself to have 3 meals can also be detrimental. Working with at the moment about, as well as a psychologist, about my food issues, but I'm finding the information I'm getting on addiction altogether is making a huge difference as well, especially when we start talking about bringing things into the house that then enables to go, like Tommy said the other day, I was here just in case, but then if I, my addiction kicks in, I order it because it's here. So she said to me, look, if you're eating enough food and it's food from all of the varieties that you need, so you're getting all your nutrients, it actually doesn't matter if you only eat twice a day, or if you have small amounts 6 times a day, as long as not all of the empty calories.
Okay.
So that was the advice I got on that.
Just so you know, there's a funky thing happening with your earbuds, or the mic on your earbuds, Rose. It's kind of it's like kind of max headroomy, if that makes any sense.
Let me try something else.
Hi, Steve.
Okay.
Is my volume
There.
Is my volume okay? This working?
So we're talking about eating disorders today, and food addiction and food the struggles that we have with food today.
And I've done keto.
Okay.
I don't do per se keto right now, but I've done the intermittent fasting and ultimately increasing. So I don't cut food. And what I'm currently doing is a low FODMAP diet. We're trying to kind of figure out some of the stuff. So I'm doing kind of more a low carb, low FODMAP. But yeah, you can exactly what you said. I've done the intermittent fasting, and sometimes I don't eat breakfast and I'm not hungry, and sometimes I do. And I have gone moments. I had a period of a year and a half to 2 years when I maybe ate one meal a day, and not because I needed to lose weight or because it was just I think I've always kind of had a little bit of an issue with food since I was high school.
Okay.
Not like body dysmorphia or thinking that I was fat, but just the ability that, couple things. Being at home with my mom, if I did meals, I would have to deal with family. And there was all the, you have to eat specific things and you clean your plate. And there's, even if you're not hungry, you still have to eat. And things like one of my favorite things is apple pie. My mother made zucchini apple pie. And let's just be blunt, zucchini does not taste like an apple. And I hated zucchini. But one of the things that my mom made us do, because she did mock apple pie, which, but it doesn't taste the same. But she made me eat the whole thing. So there's little things where I just didn't eat because I then didn't have to deal with it. And I didn't have to sit at the dinner table and deal with abuse. So it was easier to not eat. And then I didn't want to. So I ate. There was a stretch when I only ate, and this was junior year in high school is when it started, where I ate school lunch, and we had free school lunch. So I ate one meal a day. Not intentionally, because I thought I was fat or that but you do it long enough and you don't get hungry. And it turns off, I'll just say this, it turned off my hunger. I didn't feel hungry anymore.
Right. Yeah, you can get to that point. I've gotten there a few times, many times, really.
That's actually what anorexia is, when you no longer feel hungry. Anorexia nervosa is the disease. So anorexia is your body chemicals switching off. So you don't feel hungry and you don't feel the need to eat. The anorexia nervosa is the disease where eating and not feeling hungry is the only way you can have control of one section of your life.
Okay.
So did some interesting studies, like prep work for today, because I wanted to make sure, like, I've dealt with anorexia for a lot of my life. And but I wanted to make sure when I came on that I had facts and things that could potentially be really helpful to people to help them understand. And I did not know this. And let me know if you knew this. Anorexia is the leading cause of unaliving yourself among all mental illnesses. So that means people who are anorexic unalive themselves more than people with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, depression, anything like that. And I did not know that. I had no idea. I also learned today that being anorexic also literally rewires your brain. They did brain studies, 3D brain studies on a well brain versus an anorexic brain. And a well brain, when you eat, you actually get a dopamine hit and you enjoy your food and your brain goes, oh, this is good. Continue to do this. Anorexia, this is the best way that I heard it put, was that your brain, there's so much anxiety around anorexia, and the noise in your head actually overtakes. So what happens is the neural pathways in your brain, and Ben, I know you're here, I did this just for you because I knew you'd geek out on it. The neural pathways in your brain actually rewire themselves. So you no longer get the dopamine hit, you no longer enjoy the taste, and everything is just flatlined. And that was really interesting to me. One of the things that I learned too was that I made a bunch of notes I wanted to refer to, that you the level of anxiety around it is so high that when someone with anorexia starts to eat, they have noise in their head that is like, why are you doing this? You know, this is gonna cause you to gain weight, like all of that. It's one of the only, with eating disorders, it's the most severe, but it also is the one that progresses from a mental illness to like physical deterioration faster than anything else. And
Wow.
it's it's just the stuff that I learned, like it made it make sense to me. Like the other thing that I learned was that your brain needs sugar and glucose in order to function. When it does not have that, it actually starts to shut down parts of your body that are the parts around communication and things like that. So what literally happens is the eating disorder takes over your brain. So it actually starts to change the way you think, and your ability to rationalize, to be realistic, to have someone talk to you, it is lost on that because your brain is literally being starved and it is in survival mode. And so it gets to a point where the eating disorder has taken over your brain. And when people who are watching someone with an eating disorder, they see them slip away, because the eating disorder gets such control of your brain, because it is a mental thing with the neural pathways that you are no longer yourself. And they said from the outside looking in, because I've only seen it on the inside, um, that you're just no longer who you are, that the person in front of them is slipping away. And in the most extreme cases, I didn't realize how extreme I was. I didn't realize how serious this was for me. They said in the most extreme cases, if you weigh less than 25% of what your ideal weight should be, that you're very extreme. So for my height and my size and my age at the time, I needed to weigh between 98 and like 105 pounds. So on average, I usually weighed about 100. So I would have been extreme at 75 pounds. I was at 89 pounds. So I was very, very close to being extreme. And they put up pictures. There was a point in my life where you can see all of the vertebrae in my back and all of the ribs that just look like skin kind of stretched over stuff. And they had a picture of that up, and I just lost it because I seen myself in that picture. Like, it was really difficult. And I learned a lot that I knew, but I had kind of forgotten. And one of the things too was that there is, when it comes to treatment for these eating disorders, there's no cut and dry treatment. So like if you have depression, you can like go to your doctor, talk about it, you know, get on some medication if that's what you need. If medication is not something that you need, you can go to a therapist and learn how to manage it. But with eating disorders, sometimes you have to deal with the trauma and then reintroduce food. Sometimes you have to reintroduce food and then deal with the trauma. But everything is so specific that there's nothing really cut and dry about it. And it
There are many
was,
different types of eating disorders as well.
sorry.
Yes.
There are many different types of eating disorders.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
The
so
three that
you know,
the three that I found the most stuff on was anorexia, bulimia, and binge eating. There were some other things, but there wasn't a lot of eating disorder like information on them. It was just those three were the big three that I could kind of find that had
yeah.
good research, you know, behind
Well,
them.
there's people with neurodivergencies tend to have this one. Well, not all, but they can have one called food. I think it's avoidant food restrictive something. I don't know, but they avoid and restrict their food quite heavily, and it's not always due to trauma. Sometimes
Right.
it is,
Mhm.
but it's generally due to sensations and just eating in general. But a lot of it older people who have this problem, me specifically, were generally forced to eat things they didn't want to as a child, so now they have a different thing about food. But
Yeah.
I have a different. They can't even class what sort of eating disorder I have because I will eat almost anything. It's just I don't.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that I found was that some people, and this just applies to me because I kind of, it was really interesting to learn about what I went through, you know, with this and see a doctor putting it into words. But was that some people with anorexia recover, some people manage, and some people never do. And I feel like I kind of go back and forth between recover and managing. And I feel like right now I'm managing.
Okay.
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 Yeah.
How are you doing with that realization?
I've cried all morning. This has been very hard for me. Yeah. But not in, I mean, just because it all came rushing back and ripped open. And the thing that I
Yeah.
learned is that uh everybody's journey looks different. You know, no one is exactly the same. You could have three people with the same eating disorder and their journey isn't going to look the same. It was nice to see validation of what I felt, like how I felt it, and to understand was
Okay.
good. To get the information, um, you know, and it's uh it just, you know, I wanted to, I'm the type of person who I like to have information, so I wanted to have a bunch of information before I came on in case anybody had anything. I might have an answer in my little book.
No.
But
Wonderful. Yeah.
yeah.
I was wondering if we could talk a little bit about binge eating. If anybody has.
I have some stuff that I found.
Wanna-
It's not anything I experienced, but
Yeah, Rose. Were you?
I just want to quickly reply to Melinda,
Oh, okay.
who said that she'd flipped and the same. I'd gone from being anorexic to now not eating. And I know why mine happened, but I wanted to let her know that it does happen. So in my teens and my 20s, I would need to eat a lot, and quite often I would drink instead of eat.
Okay.
But I also thought that I was really fat. I was completely, I was actually pounds and twice my size. It wasn't until a friend
Oh,
of mine
that's
said to me,
tiny.
we're the same size. And I thought, he gave me a pair of jeans to put on and they fit me. And I still couldn't see it. And that's when I really seeing what I looked like compared to what other people saw were completely different. So, which I
Right.
think nowadays counts as a size 6. in the US. So, yeah, tiny. After having Seb and the issues I'd had with my ex, I've gone up to 203 kilos, which I've lost quite a bit of since I'm slowly coming back up. So it's actually not unusual to flip from one. I know that I saw that, and
Okay.
I get it. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Ooh.
With
So-
some of
It's
the
like binge
research.
eating.
Oh, I was going to say some of the research that I found around binge eating, just because I wasn't really familiar with it. It says that it's a newly diagnosed thing in the DXM5 or whatever that book is that they go through and they diagnose different things. It's newly added to that. It's defined as eating massive amounts of food in a short period of time over a couple of hours, more than the average person would eat, and feeling out of control and can't stop eating. Some of the signs are eating faster than normal, being uncomfortably full, um, eating large amounts of food when you're not really hungry, eating alone because you are ashamed of how much you are eating, and then after eating, feeling disgusted, guilty, or depressed. I did want to say this. I did find a YouTube channel. The lady was really nice. If you struggle with binge eating, it's called the binging therapist or the binge eating therapist. She's on YouTube. She's very nice. I think she's like Australian or something. She's got a really cool accent. She actually dealt with binge eating herself, so that would be a really good resource for you. You can subscribe to her channel. She's got a lot of things she talks about. Some of the stuff I found was very technical and it was not compassionate or helpful. She was very compassionate. Um, what they found in the studies that they have done is the emotional triggers for binge eating are sadness, anger, and frustration. And that anger and frustration are the strongest triggers of binge eating. Frustration can come in the forms of discouragement, irritation, resentment, and inadequacy. And they said that what they're saying now this can change and this might not necessarily fit everybody, but that there's usually a disconnect with being able to process interpersonal relationships. So it becomes your coping mechanism to deal with the feelings that you're feeling. So instead of you can have a feeling, but you're not able to express that feeling. So instead of saying, "Oh, I feel frustrated," because you're just like, "I feel frustrated," and this I thought was really interesting when it came to why binge eating. And I did not know this. I learned a lot today. So your mouth is a very intimate part of your body, and I did not think about that. It said you speak out of it to express yourself, you kiss people to show affection, and it's also how you feed yourself. And so it also becomes a way for you to deal with stress because it's a very intimate way to deal with stress. And I thought that was very interesting because this is a part of it that I don't know anything about personally. So I was just taking everything that somebody who had, gone through it or whatever the study showed. Um, and they said that binge eating has a higher instance of trauma than any other eating disorder. So whereas anorexia can come from, like in my case, someone saying, if you continue to eat like that, you're going to get really fat like your mom. And by the way, I hate that word. That is just literally what was told to me. I don't believe people to be that way. But it started out as I don't want to look this way. I want to feel this way. And then it turns into this is how I control my life. And then it took over my life. So there was no sort of trauma because that was the one thing everybody always asked me, like, what was your trauma around it? And it's like, I didn't have trauma around it. Like, I didn't have one huge traumatic thing that happened. It was something that me. And so I thought that it was really, really interesting. What I learned from the binge therapist, she said the desire to binge, there's two main desires. One is hunger driven, so you actually physically get hungry and then you just eat and eat and eat and don't stop. The other is an emotional response, and that's you trying to deal with something that's going on emotionally. Um, and she said that 3 things that helped her was, what story are you telling yourself? And I think that this works good for any sort of, I don't think this only applies to, binging. But what story are you telling yourself? So like, what judgments are you putting around it? What value are you putting around it? And looking at it and saying, instead of this is never going to leave, like it's uncomfortable, but it's okay to not act on it. Now, I don't know how hard or easy that is. This is just what she's saying. She said the second thing was to find the urge in your body. Like, where is it located in your body? Is it your chest? Is it your heart? Is it your stomach? And then really go to that place and figure out, like, why is it there? Like, is it in your, like, your root chakra? Like, is it your lowest chakra, or is it tightness? What does it feel like? And she said, then at that point, when you can do that, when you wrap your belief in your story around that urge to binge, that's when it really takes over and becomes like this big monster, because you've given it thoughts and values and judgments, and it becomes something, instead of just a feeling, it's become something much bigger. And then the third thing she said was wake up the observer. And she said, when you can step back and get distance, you might be able to better understand like why you're doing it. So she said this didn't work for her, but she said that it was recommended to do like a food diary and write down not what you ate, but more specifically how you were feeling before you binged, to help you get to the root of it. So that's all I know about that. But the binge, what was she called again? The binge therapist. She was very, very, very compassionate and very nice. Like, I really liked how she approached it. So if that's something that you're dealing with, I would check her out. She's on YouTube. She might be.
What is her name?
Let me make sure I get it right. It's the binge eating therapist. Let me make sure that's correct. Because like I said, some of it, the binge eating therapist.
Okay.
Some of the stuff I found was very technical and very cold and very uncompassionate. And I was like, that is not helpful to anyone. So I wanted to give a resource that was at least compassionate and helpful. But that's all I know about that. So I'm going to step back and shut up. And anybody who has dealt with that, please.
Well, I have a thought, and while you were talking, I didn't think about it. But I occasionally do that, and it makes me want to go to. I'll ask my therapist. I'll make a note for Monday, because I talk to her every Monday. The realization that sometimes I do it, not extremely often. Mm-hmm. Oh, hello.
We all got starstruck for a second.
Everybody just like get quiet when you got on. They're like, don't kid yourself. Johnny might be a legend, but so are you, hon.
We definitely use the L word for him. We do not use the L word for him. Thank you, though. I appreciate you.
We love you too, and we'll use the L word.
You know something? This is honest to God. There will be a day that you're going to look back on and look to these days and these shows and these meetings as the best times of your life. I promise. I mean, I love the boat growing. It's great. You know, the bigger it gets, the better. The message is getting spread, but the way you can interact, the way you're doing right now, is just absolutely beautiful. It really is.
Thank you.
And it doesn't last very long, so live it up. Enjoy it. I want you to know I lurk a lot.
Well, thank you.
I tend to ruin a stream if I show up. I do tend to have that. I do. I have that. I have that effect.
No, not
Sadly.
possible.
Well,
Not a possibility
it's,
at all.
it rapidly changes the subject at hand, and very often I'll come in and what you guys are talking about, I start grooving to it, and I'm like, you know what? I'll all say hi, and we'll forget what we're talking about. And this is an important subject. I'm going to be listening a lot. Seriously, a lot. This is something that I probably need to spend way more time listening and less time talking about. You know, it's something that I interact with every single day of my life, but it doesn't affect me. It affects the people that I work with. So I'm so happy that you're doing this. I really am. I'm going to mute so that you don't have to hear those noises. But I am listening and loving this. I promise you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Tommy.
Thanks
Appreciate
for
you.
coming, Tommy.
So what was your thought, Rebecca?
No, well, while you were talking about it, is the realization I have had, I think, an unhealthy relationship with food, starting with, the whole not eating because I didn't want to deal with my family, and you have to sit at the table and you have to deal with the whole cult thing, and then the moving in. When I moved in with my dad yelling at me for everything I ate, and so then I didn't eat, and I ate crap then, because at least when I was in living with my mom, we had and I can't remember what it was, the free lunches. So I was getting what would be considered a relatively healthy meal. When I moved in with my dad, I was paying for my own. And so I'm having like a bagel with cream cheese. I mean, there's not vegetables in there. And I would have maybe one meal a day, but that was because if I ate at home and I ate something, my dad would potentially yell at me. Not every time, but at this point, I am probably 110 pounds, 5'7", a teenager, 18 at that point. I'm like, I should be, eating a lot.
Yeah.
I'm fairly active. I worked a job at that point where I was cashier. So I'm like, and I'm walking to school and,
Yeah.
So I had that, and I moved, when I finally went to college, I gained the freshman 15. And there was one time my roommate said I was eating this bag of like Cool Ranch Doritos when she left for class. And like 2 hours later, I was still nibbling on that same bag of Doritos.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
No, I didn't do that all the time, but it was like suddenly I was like, I had food. And at that point, I wasn't worried about how I was going to pay for my food because I had a little bit of money saved. And then getting out, it was fine. But then I'm back at that where there's been that, guys won't like you and you won't deal with being hurt if you weigh more than what is stereotypically considered attractive in American culture.
Right.
So having that be there, and of course now I'm trying to get rid of the extra COVID weight that I gained with and of course long COVID, and they're trying, the low FODMAP is doctor monitored because we're trying to see if we can try to figure out what's going on, and maybe some of that can help some of the long COVID symptoms, which is why we're doing that thing. But this weekend I was craving bread, and bread is not low FODMAP generally. I had a whole pretzel from Pizza Luce with the beer cheese. Like, this is the food enough meal for like two. And occasionally I will still do that. We're not really thinking about it, and I'm uncomfortably full. I mean, it's not like I do that all the time, and it's not like I would necessarily do that if I was always by myself, but I live by myself.
Yeah, it's hard when you live by yourself. Is that Kimmy's Playhouse that hopped on? Is that who showed up?
Let's do crochet, Mary.
No, that's Tim.
Ah.
Oh, I'm not in the middle anymore. I want to do the Brady Bunch song. I wanted to be, what's the one? The maid. I wanted to be maid. So, this is what I wanted.
Alice.
This is
I
what
think I
wanted.
got everything working.
Anybody at all.
Yeah.
There's the video
By the way,
Yeah.
am I just a paperweight here, or can you guys hear me?
Not at all, Steve. I'm
Nice
so
to
happy
hear
to
you.
see you. Are you kidding? No way.
Oh,
No way.
You know, see, I've been waiting for you to come back so I can show you little Steve. Look, I found him. My little buddy stole him. Yeah. So, but yeah, I just wanted to say, this my little thing that I've got up there. There's a noise in the background. That's might be me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Adjust your
but
mic
yeah.
and see if it changes it.
Hello. Did it do it now? No,
Okay, let's
okay.
try it now. Yeah.
Yeah, because after our last meeting and how I got so upset about certain words being used and all that sort of stuff against me in particular, and anyone else can use whatever words they want to use, but me myself, I spoke to my therapist because I had my therapy meeting straight after because that was Monday, and I was sobbing because I was so upset about that meeting. I was thinking words shouldn't hurt so much; they're just words, they're just some letters on a page or out of your mouth, but I've been suffering from words my whole life. I was called fat, like S word, C word, all the negative stuff. And also I've been abandoned my whole life. Like I would, so like as a child, infant, my mother was 16. She wouldn't know. So she probably would have left me cry for ages. And I remember being locked in my room a lot. So my therapist said that when you cry out a lot as an infant, as a child, and no one comes, you learn to be self-sufficient and learn that even if you cry, no one's going to come for you. And so my issue is lack of connection since childhood, infanthood, and lack of connection from everybody. Like I was the black sheep, the one who wasn't wanted, And like food has been an issue for me for a long time because like we had big families. Like my family is huge over in New Zealand, lots of cousins and all that sort of stuff. And I was always pushed aside and never really thought of. So I had to fight food as a little kid.
Wow.
And it's just I've been fighting my whole life, and it just feels like the only things I can control are myself and what goes into myself, food-wise. And and right now, because I'm going through some stuff and I'm struggling so hard to stay sober, like my triggers are exhaustion, loneliness, and upset, and I'm feeling all of that at the moment. And I've got the Rones. Woo! So I'm feeling really, really sick. And normally when I feel really sick, I'll just go get a bottle of something and try and burn it away or something, but now I'm just having to sit here. I don't say having. I'm quite happy to sit here and be sober and be ill. Because I think it's probably better than being drunk and being ill. But it's just, but I think lack of connection is something that stems for a lot of us, trauma. Like my counsellor said that you go sit in AA and you probably wouldn't find anyone there who hasn't suffered some sort of trauma. So, yeah. And it goes, and I kind of think it goes the same with food, like if you don't start having problems with food unless someone gives it to you, because as children, you just want to eat. And that the basic premise of being a child is being provided for. Food, water, clothing, and shelter, and when you have to fight for the majority of that from a young age, and I don't think that I'm the only one. I think there's many who've done the same, and it might not be from a young age. It might be at some point. It might be at some point that it could be at any stage of your life that you've gone through some sort of trauma, and it all stems back to something, and it's just full of hope. And I just thank you. I just wanted to say that's because I talk about my meetings with my counsellor all the time. He thinks it's great. I won't tell him what the thing is. I'm like, no, I don't think so. He just I just say because it brought up so much, and actually this meeting on Monday made me have a huge big breakthrough in therapy that I've never had before. So,
Really?
thank you. Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
That's amazing.
I'm so glad
Yeah.
you're here, and I send you
Yeah.
lots of big hugs.
Thank you. It's just that I've always been the sort who's sort of been like, I'm an adult now. It's not my parents' fault anymore. Well, guess what?
Well, I kind of did sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick,
Yeah.
I love
Well,
you
it's
so
just up to
much.
me now.
I
Thank you.
just want to say I love you so much, and you
Yes.
have worked harder for your sobriety than anybody I personally have seen. Now, to be fair,
100%.
I have seen a lot of people, so like I'm not trying to insult anybody, but to just see how you have come through, I am so proud of you, and I just can only imagine how difficult this might be because this is a new part of your journey, but to have those breakthroughs and those realizations is beautiful. And I might not be able to help with everything, but I'm always here, and I'll tell you some stupid cheese story, and if nothing else, you'll laugh for a minute and then you can go on.
Actually, I took some photos of our cheeks to send you today too. But yeah, it's just I just think that this is, I think anything, like with anything, one thing isn't going to fix everything. So we need a holistic approach to everything, like peer support is amazing and it's been great for me, but I also need my doctor, I need my therapist, I need my friends, we just need this. And that's connection with everybody, and I just I think I think that's my new favorite word, considering I'm having trouble with so many words at the moment. I think connection's a good one.
Connection is a beautiful word, isn't it?
Yeah. I just need to go get some tissues.
Hey, Christy. Christy, I just wanted to tell you that Cosmic Christy. I don't right this second, but I just okay, there you are. I just wanted to let you know that I see you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay. You won't now because I'm going to get some tissues.
So you three on the bottom have been kind of quiet. Do you all have anything you would like to share?
Steve?
Well, I've struggled with food because especially during my middle school years, were very rough. The nickname for me in school was Cow. The sounds were the cow noises. And, I was considered the fat kid, and I look back at pictures going, I wasn't fat, but that's how everybody did it. So when I went home to my house, and then my dad tended to have an anger, I go in my bedroom. There was no friends calling me. There was no guys asking me out on dates. The easiest thing to do was to fill my face with food for the pain for a brief moment.
Right.
And then I did deal with the fact that nobody wanted to be my friend because I was the person that they were going to laugh about at school.
For life.
And the school would sit there and go, it's her fault she's doing it, not the kids. If she didn't do this and she didn't do this and she didn't do this, well, then they wouldn't make fun of her. And I'm like, wait a minute.
I just wanted to know.
I'm the one that's getting bullied, but it's everybody, it's my
Oh,
fault,
we
not
got-
theirs.
We got two people talking here.
If she's
I'm sorry.
because
That's
that's
okay, keep going.
really scary.
So throughout my life, it's been the way that I've been able to cover pain. And when you have to sit there and you have to say to yourself, why am I eating that? Am I eating that because I'm hungry and I need to fuel my body? Or am I eating that because I want to be able to, fix
diarrheas and a couple
just because I want to emotionally eat?
I keep one for my
Right,
every time I eat or I had a tub of ice cream and half a packet of chocolates and then chips. That was about it. That I don't write in my food diary. But I do find that it's really, really hard to do as well. It's like I don't even want to about it. It does seem self-blame of why I have stopped. I didn't bring that stuff into the house in the first place. But then this is stuff that I don't really know the answers to. So that's what's about it again. TDK for Life also an autistic son, how difficult it can be organising food around him, but then for yourself to, because you don't really want to end up cooking 2 meals. Picky eater, even though it's all related around the sensation of food kids have. So I'm pretty lucky with my son, and I realised he liked really strong flavours, like he would eat some stones and pick up cigarettes and things like that. That I was able to herbs in the garden and lettuce that was very bitter and very strongly from that on to actually eating salads and things. So that really helped me. It was explained to me as far as some of the food issues. I know we said he's also got issues with, so he won't eat anything soft or mashed, but he'll eat steak and he'll eat sausage. But it was explained to me, like, if you have 5 blueberries, they can be hard, and off. But if you have crackers, it's names. So they know what they're eating. And it's like that with a lot of autistic kids. And it's really easy for people who don't understand to then label you kids as something that they're not and pass judgment, which is so annoying. So annoying. Cosmic Christie does use the DSM-5. Thank you for letting me know. Kimmy's Playhouse said DSM and the ICD. I just wanted to know where she was from. Like that you use both of them. Just Pauline, putting on
Rose, can you hear anyone?
I found. Hey?
Can you hear anything, Rose? Can you hear us?
We can't hear you. We're not hearing you very well.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
When I'm talking, it cuts out all of anything. You kind of do this to stop me, so I can see, which is why I do this quite because it seems like you can't hear me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're getting about every third word or so. We're getting about every third word. Every third word. Mary,
can I say something about
I was wondering if
the autism? Because
if that cuts me off.
Hold on, Rose. Hold on.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mary.
And I remember she was diagnosed with diabetes in the hospital, and the nutritionist came in as I was, because mind you, she was autistic too.
Go ahead, who?
And my daughter. And she was just, I remember the nutritionist coming in, we just got this diagnosis, and I'm sitting there going, not one more thing do I as a mother deal with.
Normally, like this, can you
and she looked at me going,
am I still cutting
like,
off everything?
It was my fault that I caused the diabetes. There was already a marker for my daughter, but it was my fault. It's what I fed her. Exhausting it is to take care of an autistic child. She could have cared less. We had like an advocate there, and the advocate had to step in and pull her out and say, you can't do this to this mom. Wow. There was a story about a mother who had an autistic child, and she went and got her son fries every day at McDonald's, fries every Tuesday. And it was his routine. And she wasn't going to break it because she knew it was going to be a meltdown. And people criticized her for it. And I'm like, I know what that's like.
Carol, can you let me know if I'm still breaking up?
I know exactly what that's like. Have you been through a 3-hour meltdown? I have. I don't want to go through it again.
Yep.
I think
yes.
I'm going to stop you real quick. Rose, I think it may be your computer because I'm hearing everybody else okay. That's how it was when you were speaking. It was like every third word would cut out, but might be on your end because I can hear Mary. I can hear everybody.
Think you can hear us.
Yeah, and I don't think you can hear us.
Yeah. With sorry, it's backwards. Blessed to crochet.
Blessed to
Yeah.
crochet.
Yeah, yeah.
When I go
you know what?
live, it's not, but
It turns it back around when the video goes on. But yeah, it's just I understand what it's like to go through that thing. You just give in because you don't want to put up with the 7 hour or 3 hour or 3
you're
day
exhausted.
or whatever meltdown. Yeah, because like sometimes it's just like, and also it's like it's better they eat something than eat nothing. Something is better than nothing.
I'd eat the same thing
Yeah.
for 3 days straight. I mean, for 3 weeks. It was like, and then one morning it was like, oh, I don't want that anymore. And it was like, oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
it was.
I know. It's really
difficult.
difficult. So people who don't have children or people in their life who have this type of thing don't really understand because they're like, oh, well, just make them do that. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, that's fine. But with my daughter, I've ended up with a permanent brain injury and a permanent scar because I didn't know how to say no to her. Because I put up with a whole bunch of behaviors that I didn't want, because we're both so autistic that we would trigger each other, so but she had food issues as well, and I would sit there and I'd just think, because this is before I even knew that she was autistic, I'd just think, why is she so picky? Well, why won't she eat this? She ate it last night and she ate it every night for the last 4 weeks, and now she doesn't want it. And it was so stressful. I ended up making 3 different meals for everybody. So,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah, because I like salad, and the kids. Jaden doesn't eat vegetables. Sorry, he's not here. I'm allowed to say his name. My son doesn't eat vegetables, and my daughter just ate whatever. She liked noodles. It was just, that's, I think you call that empty calories. But
maybe
I just think
there's probably some nutrients there.
Yeah, but I think we should focus less on, body positivity and and just focus more on body acceptance. Because some people can't feel positive about their body. Just imagine I know someone who is got cerebral palsy, and the whole body positivity thing is hard for her because she doesn't feel positive about her body, which has never worked for her whole life. But she's accepted that her body does what she needs it to do. It moves her. It keeps her in the world,
Mm-hmm.
So body acceptance is something I think that should come more than body positivity, because we just have to accept what we've got. We can make it better, or we can go backwards. But in the end, acceptance is all we can do, because
I put
we
a
can be
video
positive if you want.
A YouTube like short in the lifeboat, and it was this most run show I'd ever seen. All these children with disabilities and can't think of all of them, but they were just all needs kids, and they're walking down the runway, and I thought, they're just having so much fun, and they're lighting up, and they're dressed, and they're styling, and I'm like, this
saw
is
that.
what we need to
Yes,
do.
I saw that.
Yeah, wasn't it cool? I thought, I cannot not post it
was
because
very
Tommy was
cool.
talking about that. I was
I haven't
like,
seen that one.
we need more of
Yeah.
this. Get the kids on the runway.
Yeah, we do.
It's not about what you look
Yes.
like.
Yeah.
You
By the way,
know,
I thought they
wanna
all
go-
looked fabulous.
Oh, I did agree too.
I want to go back to what Cosmic was saying about body acceptance, because I don't like my body at all. And I'm just having to learn to accept that this is who I am. And believe me, I know that, I'm not at school, okay? Like, I get that. But it is so hard for me to see myself the way that everybody else sees me. I don't see it. And it causes issues in intimate ways as well. Because when you cannot see yourself in an accepting light or a positive light, it is very hard for you to be intimate. And I'm not just talking like sex, I mean like just whatever with somebody, because if you don't like yourself, why are they gonna like
Can't hear you.
Your volume went down.
Your volume went down.
Technical difficulties.
No.
You know, it's one reason why when I come on my channel, I don't do any hairspray. I don't put any makeup on. I come on just like this. Because I want to say to everybody, okay, I don't have the makeup on. I don't have the hair, but it doesn't matter. I'm beautiful for what I am inside, not what's on the outside. I tell my daughter all the time, you are beautiful inside and out. Don't let anybody tell you differently.
Can you hear me now?
And her husband will do the same. You're beautiful.
It's very quiet.
Right on.
Yeah. But yeah, Christy, what she was saying, like, I don't like anything about me either. Like, sometimes I like my hair, but right now it's a bit fluffy, so I don't like that very much. But normally I don't like anything. So
I was in the hospital and I had like 100-degree fever and I was sick as a dog. And I looked at my future husband and I said, I bet I look wonderful, right? I bet I look beautiful. And he said, you're beautiful all the time. Been married for 17 years. It was
Right
like,
on.
that's a keeper.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah, that is a keeper.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Try again. Nope, maybe not.
And I think we have to lift each other up.
I do too.
Yeah.
We have to know that, we have to lift each other up and let, and look what's inside, not what's on the outside.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. No, what I wanted to say was, it makes it really hard for intimacy because if you don't like yourself, how is anybody else going to, in your mind, how is anybody else going to find you attractive or like you? I wanted to address no one ever told me I wasn't pretty. No one ever told, I got called ugly in school, but that's just kids being kids. I tell my daughters that they are smart and intelligent and funny and capable. I do tell them that they're beautiful. For me, and this is where it's hard for me. I do like to look good. I like to put on makeup and eyelashes, and I was a makeup artist for a long time and do my hair. That's part of me feeling, that's how I feel okay about myself. And sometimes I even feel bad about that because I think, is that vanity? Is that me being vain that I want to look nice? And so it's this really hard line that we walk. And I've worked in the fashion industry. I had rules around how I had to show up to work, how I could look, how my nails could look. And so, it's such a fine line. For me, it's so hard. And for people that love me to look at me and be like, you're beautiful, it is the hardest thing in the world for me to hear because I have that. And I've carried this since I was 12. This has never gone away. It's not going to go away. I have to learn how to manage it. And that's part of what all of this brought up for me today was there are parts of it I'm managing, parts of it that are never going to go away. And all of the nice things that everybody says, I hear it, but I don't put it in my heart because I don't believe it. And I think that's the difference. And it can be very difficult to struggle. And I think it shows that you can't just look at somebody's outside because you never know what really is going on inside of them,
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Hard.
But that's like when I was actually called by my favorite auntie at the time. I think I've told this. She called me fug and fugly when I was like from the time I can remember. And I was like, well, when you look at little photos of me when I was little, I was like a little blonde-haired, blue-eyed. I was quite cute. I looked like just like my kids did, but blonde. But it was just, but how could you do that to children? It's just
right. Yeah.
But that's something that, and I've always felt it. I think, like Christy, you probably have it too. If you can't see what other people see, there's a form of body dysmorphia, which is one of the reasons why a lot of people end up having the eating disorders that aren't RFID, because of a distorted body image.
Yeah, I mean, I have to remind myself, you know, and it's hard for me too. Like when Michael's like, "You're beautiful," I'm like, ah, and he's being serious, and I'm being self-deprecating, you know, because I can't. Like you could tell me I was smart or you know, like whatever, and I'd be like, "Oh, thank you," you know, but there's just something about that. There's something about what was said to me when I was so young that was so vile. Like what that
Yeah.
woman said to me.
Yeah.
And she was
Mm.
my great grandma. What my great grandma said to me was the most vile thing anyone could say. And as a child, I didn't understand that. I just took it and I wrapped it around my whole life and I made my whole life around that. And
Wow.
you know, to get to a point where and I you know, and I worry about my daughters sometimes, and that's why I never put an emphasis on their beauty. I mean, I did tell them they were pretty or beautiful, but it was the last thing I told them, not the first thing, but it was always like a string of positives because I didn't want them to focus on you're beautiful because looks fade, you know. I'm not going to look like this in 20 years, you know. I know that. And building who you are around who you want to be seen as a person, and that's part of what helped me um get to a point where I could, you know, I think I was recovered for a long time from my anorexia, and with things that have gone on, I think at this point, like I said, I'm just managing it. I think it's back and forth, but there are things that never leave. They just never leave. And it's so
Actually,
hard.
Christy, thank you, or Cosmic Christy, thank you for actually saying that, because I have always thought of body dysmorphia as, for me, and thinking that I didn't have that because I never thought I was fat when I had all the eating issues. I mean, now I know I'm overweight, but when I was super skinny, I never thought I was fat, yet I have never thought I was attractive. And my mom, of course, she later on kind of gave an explanation and said she was so hard on me because I never heard I was pretty. I never heard I was smart or I never heard I was good at anything. And so school, my grades were never good enough. I just never compared. So I never thought of that as body dysmorphia. But realizing that, you know, maybe that is. And now I still don't think of myself. I have a partner. We don't use those kinds of, you know, words with each other. But my mom thought I was being prideful, so she always felt like she had to take me down a notch. Of course, there's that whole cult thing with me too, but I was being
your
prideful.
Own daughter, you're a child.
Yeah. But
Sorry.
I don't wear makeup, and actually you guys have inspired me. I might actually shave my head. I've thought about it. Seriously. You might find in a week I don't have any hair anymore. It's long.
Yeah, me too. Come on.
But
no, not really.
It's kind of thank you for saying that, because I never thought of it. It'll be another thing to add to the list to talk about in therapy. But yeah, because I think of myself now, I'm the one that went to 4-year college and graduated. I'm smart. Even with long COVID and the whole brain fog, I'm smart. I can do my job. I'm resourceful enough that I live on my own and I can pay my rent and, you know, the things. But it's always been internal. Like, yes, I can sew really well, and you know, I like to do that, and I can embroider really well. I can do some amazing kind of crafty things, but the external, and I don't wear makeup either anymore. I'm just like, why am I wearing makeup for something that my skin doesn't like? Why am I putting myself through that? And I also stopped dyeing my hair with COVID. It was kind of a little, I'm 52. I might change that. You know, I give myself freedom to change it if I choose to. But this is my real hair color. And kind of trying to be, you know, it's okay to be what I really am. It's okay to have, you know, as long as my skin is healthy and I keep it clean and moisturized, you know, all the things, that's enough.
You know, and this is where my vanity comes in. I'm like, I mean, I know you guys seen all the gray that was in my hair at different times. Like, nope, not doing that.
I have never seen the gray in your hair. It's never close enough.
Well, it's there. But, you know, isn't it amazing and sad the things that we were told as children, and that we are this age and it is still affecting us, from how we eat to how we see ourselves to intimate relationships to just. And Gordo said, I would always tell my wife, I wish she could only see herself the way I seen her. People who love you think you are beautiful because they know you inside and out. What an amazing gift it would be if every single one of us could see ourselves the way everybody else sees us. Because I know I don't see myself the way anybody else sees me.
Yeah.
I know I don't.
I kind of think that society's got it all wrong. We're all focused on the facade, you know, and it's because I don't comment on anybody's looks. Like, you know, I've been on the dating scene, like, you know, internet dating stuff for a while, and you always get people go, "Oh, rate me, rate that." I'm like, well, I like that thing in the background, so it's just like, it's just weird. I don't like Facebook started as a way to rate people, you know, social media, I think, and just media in general. It's been going back ever since Marilyn Monroe and all that sort of stuff, you know. The ideals of what we are expected as people, women, are actually not controlled by us as women. Like most of the majority of the fashion designers and all that sort of stuff up until quite recently, I would say, had been men. And also the magazine owners and all that sort of stuff. The owners, maybe not the editors, but the owners, they're all men. And the owners get control over whatever. So our whatever we think of as ourselves are not actually controlled by ourselves. It's controlled by society. Like, you know, like back in the day, there used to be Rubenesque. That was thought of as the most beautiful body type ever. That's curvy and, you know, nice. Rubenesque. It's by an artist, I think, an artist. And, you know, so society changes what it wants, but it's generally not women who makes just what society wants, you know, like, except for now. And it seems that they all want to look the same, which is, I think, is coming to what society wants. Like, everyone wants to look like a Kardashian or someone who wanted, yes. So, sorry, I just got shocked by TDK's thing. But yeah, it's just we don't have control over what we as a society want us to look like. It's people in control, the people selling stuff. And I sound like, trust me, I am not one of those people. I would walk around in a rag if it was allowed, because I can't be bothered deciding what I want to wear every day. It's freaking annoying.
Yeah,
I agree with Christy, though. I think if I saw myself the way other people, even the people in this room, see me, I think I would be much better off. And kind of the same thing, because I think, Christy, you're beautiful. You're like you always seem so put together, and you're so smart, and you do all this great research. You know, there's all these wonderful, beautiful things about you, and I see that, and I intellectually know, and I see this with like everybody who comes to our group. There's so many wonderful, amazing, beautiful things about them, yet I don't see those same things in myself.
I think we have
and you recognize them because you do have things that are just along those lines. Beautiful, smart, intelligence, emotional intelligence, talent.
I just want to, Huckleberry, I love that you shared what you shared in the chat. That must have been very difficult to share, and I'm so sorry that you went through that. Not imagine.
That is terrible.
But thank you for sharing that here.
Yes, thank you for sharing that here. I'm so sorry you went through that. I'm so sorry.
If I've ever, sorry. Yeah, it's that's something similar to what my children went through, because when I first got them back, they were basically starved. Their father had them on ice diets every couple of weeks. So they were thin, like they were tiny. Their little wrists were like this, and they had little, like when you see the bellies on the TV, the African belly, the malnourished bite. So I had
Distended.
malnourished. Yeah, I had. That's
Oh
what
my
I got back.
God.
And so my daughter ended up with a food hoarding issue, which is why I think she's still got it, because she always feels like there's never going to be enough. My son, on the other hand, he's gone the opposite way, whereas he won't eat if he doesn't think everyone else isn't going to have enough. But one of the things I've always done for my kids is like I've made sure the cupboards are full, the fridge is full, so they never felt like there wasn't enough. But because it happened in their formative years, like Jaden still brings it up sometimes, and I'm still a little bit shocked that it's still something he thinks about because it hasn't happened for so long. But children stuff, but she's always going to have an issue with food, and I've always tried to make sure that she never had a body image issue. Like I said, like she is larger because she has issues with walking at the moment. She did. I'm not sure how she's going at the moment, but she couldn't walk. She had pain, so she got larger, and then she felt terrible about that. And so I was just like, what does it matter? It's okay. There's reasons behind it. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because of this. And even people who we shouldn't judge people on the way that they look. You're wonderful. You're beautiful. Everything about you is perfect. And anything that anyone says about you, just tell me and I'll go beat them up. And she never did. But yeah, it's just like, but I fought against something that I had no control over because I wasn't there. But that never would have happened if I was,
Right.
So something that happened that I wasn't, so now she's going to have this thing forever because I wasn't there. So it is my fault in a way because I wasn't there.
And it's hard.
It sounds like it was out of your control, though.
Yeah.
Oh, situations, DB relationship. I couldn't have my kid in that situation. Everything could have been in my control if only I took control, but hindsight's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
How would you have been able to take control, though?
If I knew that I could leave a DB relationship, I would have. I didn't know it at the time.
But since you didn't know, how was that in your control?
I know what you're trying to do. Thank you. But I've already,
It's hard to, like, I didn't know how my ex was treating my son until I stopped working. And it still took me 6 months working with 2 social workers and a psychiatrist to understand it wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
And that was the only way I could leave, because before that I thought the only thing I could do was leave him with his dad because I was such a horrible person. And several times I almost did that. So I would have been in the same situation as you and not realizing till years later that my ex was abusing my kids. But it was only because he was doing it at the time that I saw it. If he hadn't done it until after I'd left, I wouldn't know.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I just want to say this one. It's easy to say it's not our fault.
Yeah.
And it's easy for someone else to say it's not our fault, but it's hard for us to feel it in our heart.
Oh, no.
Sure.
Yeah, I totally get that. I just wanted to add my 2 cents worth.
You're perfectly clear now too, by the way.
Therapy yesterday, because I go to therapy every Monday with my husband so we can support each other. And we're processing through some things, and it's difficult. And I realized the situation, I was really angry at my grandparents. And the therapist said, well, could you have done anything about it? And I said, no. Did they realize the ripple effect that it created by the way they raised my dad? It affected the way that I was raised.
Right.
At 6 years old, this little boy is saying, bye, Dad. And here comes my grandmother's third husband walking in and going, "Oh, I'm your new dad." Well, that would never fly today, but that whole situation amongst all the other stuff affected how I became, the ripple effect down the road was how I was treated by him. And it's like, no, I couldn't do anything, but it makes me angry. So I understand where she's coming from.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I can't do anything, but I can certainly be angry about it.
Yeah.
And I gently challenge Cosmic just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there is a certain portion, and I get that, because if you're a parent, you can't go back and change what happened. But she's there in a way that my mom will never be there. And so my mom will never understand and say she's sorry or really get any of the stuff. And so even if she can't change history and take that back, you can be there. And now that I see you, you can be there now, and you're an amazing person, and you can't fix it all, but just validating that wasn't good for them and that was a bad experience is, I think, so valuable. I mean, just kind of speaking for myself, I wish I had that.
Yeah.
And so just gentle nudge. Challenging.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, don't worry. My therapist is like, I have negative self-talk. All I do is talk positive about everybody else, but I'm negative about myself.
Yeah.
So much easier
to, Yeah.
Well, I have somebody coming to pick up some stuff here in about 15 minutes, and I've got to go.
Yeah,
so
what are you gonna do?
Well, I don't want to cut the meeting short if everybody's still chatting. I just wanted you guys to know I'm going to have to get off here soon. So you let me know. We can.
I have physio. I forgot my physio yesterday, so I should do it soon.
I can go. We can. I'm not trying to cut anything short. I just didn't want to have to be like, and have you just. This was so nice, and she was here, and we were sharing, and then now she's gone. Like. So you guys let me know what you want to do, and we can do that. I'm not trying to cut anything short, but I just didn't want to.
Yeah. See, I have to head out too, and I also want to be respectful of Carol. You need to get out and take care of your animals. But I would happily. I can't meet tomorrow because I have a doctor's appointment. But I would happily talk about this again if anybody needs some more.
Yeah,
if we could talk about it. If we could talk about it again, I've got a lot that I'm processing. I've been quiet because I'm taking in a lot of information and I'm analyzing a lot.
Yeah. See, this is my. I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's my beauty right there.
Oh, she is a beauty. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. One day I never thought was going to happen, and it did.
Yay!
What?
Oh wow.
That was my daughter on her wedding day.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yes. Oh wow.
Beautiful.
I did one thing right in life. I made a beautiful daughter.
Well, more than one thing.
One of the things I should say.
Rose, we missed a lot of what you because it was cutting out every third word. So I would love to give you another chance to.
Yeah, I'd really like that too because I got so upset when I realized I couldn't get back on. And then with like what everyone else is talking about, of course, it makes my throat very tight. I don't cry. The medication I'm on kind of stops me from doing that. And I think I'm still a bit numb from what I went through with my cancer. So it's working through stuff is kind of okay. And then I come back to feeling numb. And then I come back to being overly emotional and emotionally eating. So listening to what other people say, I find it a lot easier to go, well, this is what I've been told and this is what's worked for me and this is what I've heard works for other people, instead of going, well, I feel really crappy because
Right.
So this is helping a lot, and
Good.
I was hoping that I would be able to share a bit more about my own story to get advice from others, so that other people could say to me things like what you've all been saying, which is, well, we understand that, and I think you're doing well, and I don't think that it would have come out different because of what you experienced and all that kind of stuff. So it helps hearing it for other people. But yeah, I'd like to try and get into a little bit of that, not so much as a therapy session, but because I know other people have been through it, and I want to know that that's true.
And we want to be there for you too.
Get your hands busy. Find something to do. It doesn't have to be crochet, but cross stitch.
Oh, I crochet all the time.
Quilting. Okay. Anything, because I can sit for 3 hours dealing with fibromyalgia. There's days I just can't. And so, I just, I can sit for 3 hours and snack on stuff I know I shouldn't. Eat, keep my hands busy and not do stuff that, make beautiful things and not put things in my mouth I know I shouldn't have.
Yeah. I'm fine during the day. It tends to be at night, and when my son is home at night, and when I'm organizing food around him, and when I start to get stressed because of dealing with everything that we deal with, rather than during the day. I tend to be fine during the day.
Okay.
And at night, I can't just sit and do something or crochet or things like that, because he gets into everything. And some days when he toilets, he'll do it 3 or 4 times, and every time he does, I have to go in and clean the toilet. And sometimes he'll get into something to eat, and I've got to go and clean all of that up as well. And then sometimes he'll just be a typical 12-year-old boy, and then I've got to deal with that. And then he won't dress or undress himself. He can't shower by himself. So he's full-time care. And I think one of the ways that I deal with that is by eating, which is triggered by other stuff that had happened with my ex as well. So, yeah. You going?
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
I know the feeling so well. Raising a daughter with autism, I know it.
Yeah.
Where we used to live in Florida, we had a McDonald's right on the corner, and I'm too tired to go home.
Yeah.
And I come home, and we stop and we'd had lunch at work, so we'd stop off and get a yogurt someplace, and I go home, and my husband would close the drapes, and I would crash for 3 hours because I was so tired. I know exactly what that's like, and don't feel guilty.
Yeah.
And what happens with that is that your connection window goes from here to here because nobody understands. They don't want to understand. They think that it's your parenting, it's not you, and they don't want to understand it. And then you lose connections with people because we don't understand you. We don't understand your child. You should just take her out. No, I'm not taking her to her birthday party because I don't want to deal with the aftermath afterwards.
Yeah, and it's also like you get a whole bunch of unsolicited parenting advice. Like,
that's wonderful.
Why don't you just hit them more? Oh yeah, just hit a crying child. Well, hang on. How about you cry and I'll hit you and see how if you're going to stop crying. Like the amount of parenting stuff I got told, just because it made me not join any parenting groups or not associate with a whole bunch of people, because I didn't want to be told how to parent my children when they didn't even know what my children. They didn't know my children, so don't tell me how to look after.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, if you want to know the looks I got for raising $15,000 for an autistic service dog, and he was the best thing I ever did for my daughter. But if you could see the amount of flack I got for it, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But she's where she is because she had that dog.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to get one for my daughter, but she had a cat, and she's like, "Can I have a service cat?" I'm like, I don't think it works. But
they're just cat. That ain't
Yeah.
happening.
We had a beautiful cat for my son, and they just clicked so well. And unfortunately, he disappeared. So
Oh.
we haven't yet. I've got 2 other cats at the moment, but we haven't yet got one that meshes really well with Seb, even though he's learning a lot from interacting with these cats. You know,
It
Yeah.
opens their world. It's a
Mhm.
a connection between you
I
and
feel-
the
I feel like there's only 2 things in the world my daughter loves, and that's her partner and her cat. And me on the other hand, right now I'm like, I'm persona non grata, but that's okay. I know she loves me
Aw.
deep down.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Sounds like maybe she's coming around, right? A little bit,
Well,
maybe.
no, not really. She wishes me happy birthday
Oh.
and all that. Well, not too much,
Right.
but yeah, one day I can tell you.
Mm.
One
Okay.
day, it feels like one of those
Yeah.
things.
Oh,
Like
okay.
did your parents ever do this to you? Like hold something over your head that they'll tell you when you get older?
I don't know if it was
No,
deliberate.
they just no.
No.
Yeah.
But
Well,
my
see,
They just
dad
mum,
didn't
did.
talk.
yeah,
that was what
my
that
dad-
dog did for her.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice,
Actually, I did want to
was
show you a
Jordan.
photo of my daughter and me.
yeah.
This is my daughter.
Oh.
Oh, lovely.
Look
Yeah.
at. Oh.
Yeah.
My baby. But yeah.
Yeah, my son's only 12, so you're getting nothing.
Yeah, probably a good idea. She's 22 this year.
Adults, yeah.
My daughter is now working with dogs and wants to be a dog
wow.
trainer and working with them, and she is amazing. She's just amazing with dogs. They connect in such a way with her that's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I'm gonna have to
fantastic.
go. I'm gonna have to go soon because I have physio, and I had a big
Yep.
to go for my physio.
I got to go see a
physio
nurse.
reception yesterday.
Yep.
Yay! All the things. Are we gonna do a box breathing or something today? Or is everyone finished?
I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm not as good at leading the meditations as Christy is, but what do you guys think? You want to do like a box breathing minute meditation thing?
I'm not good
Or
with
just
that.
or just
with
say
other
huzzah and
people,
call it a
so,
night?
Yeah,
We can go
I'll
huzzah,
jump off
call
if
it a
you want
night.
to do that. Yeah.
I just think we need to remember
Sorry, what?
I think we need to remember to stay connected.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
we've got to remember that connection is so important. I was told by my
It
doctor
is.
today, you know what, and I don't work outside the house. I can't. And I said to him, no, I don't think I can ever work. He said, you can't. And I said, I'm starting the channel through my channel so that I can get connected because I can't go out and work.
Yeah.
So how can I do something that I can still somehow, because I don't know what my
Right.
tomorrow is going to be. Am I going to be hurting? Is there going to be a migraine popped out? So I think we have to remember how so important connection is. It is so
What's your
important.
channel?
Yeah.
Blessed to crochet.
Sorry, blessed to crochet.
Blessed, and then
And
the
the
number two.
Yeah, blessed.
I'm not
the
teaching
number two.
anybody how to crochet. I'm doing basically
just having chat
connection
and
and
crocheting.
creativity.
Yep. I'll come
I
and
just want to
crochet with
start
you.
connecting. I
Yeah.
just want to connect
Yep.
people, and I came on, I think it was last week or Saturday finally, and I talked about all the dogs that we've owned and what I've learned from each one of the dogs. And my daughter, which I
wow.
think is so cool, wants to do chats with me and come on both of our channels and talk and connect. And she said, yeah, Mom, I want to do it. And I'm like, well, I'm getting into her world because she loves cosplay and all that kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I just think we have to remember to stay connected.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does make a difference. I don't know why or I don't know how, but it does.
Because we're not built to not be connected.
No.
We're built to be connected.
Mm.
That's true.
That's
true.
We're social, so we're built to be it.
Yeah. If we do this topic again, I'll have to book a time because I've got a couple of days a week that don't quite match up with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Send me a message on what times
Yeah.
are good work for you. And did you get to say what you needed to say?
Mostly. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
And I'm in the lifeboat group if anybody wants to message me and have somebody to talk to, especially if they're dealing with any kind of special needs child. I've been there. I've done that.
Yeah, I'm on the Discord, and there's a parenting section there as well, and there's also a mental health, and I think I have to check. I think there's one for where is it? I think it's down the bottom. Oh, there's one for. I thought there was one for neurodivergence.
I'm on Discord too.
Maybe they put that in the mental health. Yeah, I think they put that in the mental health. So, but there's a lot of people. I would love to talk to some parents about some stuff and to see if what I went through was extreme or just the norm.
Yeah.
Right on.
Nobody's going to understand it unless it's unless they've walked the path of an autistic child, they're not going to understand it. But if they have one autistic child, they have one, because all of them are different. Things my daughter did, some other autistic child didn't do, and that makes it hard.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they say. You know, when you've met someone with autism, you've met one person with autism.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So I've got to go. Sorry, my hair's dying. What is? Give me the money. Give me money. Okay. Give me money.
Had one of Seb's carers say to me, look, I've got 5 grandchildren and I take care of all of them at the same time. I'll be fine. When I got back 8 hours later, she says to me, he never stops. I'm like, yeah, I know. She says, no, he never stops. I'm like, yes. She said, it's like having a 2-year-old, 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old all at the same time who all need your attention. I'm so glad you said that, because I thought I was going insane.
I'd often say to parents who had whatever considered normal children is, and I said, if your child is normal, to some degree, be thankful, because if they're not struggling with some kind of need, you don't know how fortunate you are. Because you don't have to walk those shoes.
And it's funny that what you deal with becomes your normal.
Yeah.
So, with only dealing with an autistic child, I don't get other parents a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
So I went through that.
Yeah.
A lot of parents didn't understand it, and they just closed me off, and I didn't have friends, and everybody thought it was my parenting, and my daughter wasn't invited to birthday. I understood her. And the parents were just as bad as the kids. Nothing wrong with my daughter. My daughter's amazing.
Yeah.
My daughter's brain just thinks differently.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's all it is.
Yeah. That's it.
And that day where she got married, I never thought was going to happen. And she found somebody who just loved her just the way she was.
I bet you cried a lot.
Oh my gosh. He didn't quite understand the whole day. And I said, I have one daughter. That's it. I have one kid. One day to see this, and a day I never thought would happen. And I said to my daughter, you will have, I couldn't give her the most expensive wedding, and I didn't. I did a lot of stuff myself and everything, but I made sure she had a beautiful day. And she said, Mom, you made me feel like a princess. And I'm like, yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's exhausting. And I don't know if they have, I know when I had my daughter, there was respite care, and I would have respite care come in our home, and they would give me a break, because you can't call in a teenager and have them come and, babysit like normal. And so I would go ahead, they would come in the house, and I would go in and I would go to sleep and say, I'm going to go sleep for 2 hours. And I'd go crash. I didn't go out. The grocery store. They said, you can go out in the grocery store. No, I need to go sleep.
Yeah.
And it was until we got the dog. Now, I don't know if your child sleeps well at night.
No.
I know mine didn't.
No.
But it was until we got Jordan. Jordan was the key to her sleeping through the night.
Wow.
Yeah.
They have found out that a benefit by sleeping near a warm body. And when she
Yeah.
was
Okay.
in her teens and she would say, "Good night, Mom," and she'd take her dog off to bed with Jordan, I go, "This is what it's like." And she would sleep through the night with him. But it wasn't until we got the dog in the bed sleeping with her that happened.
That must
Right
be
on.
why Seb chases me from bed to bed around the house.
Children, we tried everything, weighted blankets, TVs, everything. And it wasn't until we put that dog in bed and I would come up, find her head on his butt and her arm across his, every which way possible. And it was so awesome to see it. And they would sleep. And that's how we got her to sleep, was that dog.
Yeah.
Because she slept through the night.
Yeah.
As long as she loved it, Chris. My oldest daughter got married during the pandemic, so it was nothing huge either, but she loved it. That's the main thing.
That's
I
so
just told my
beautiful.
daughter, "Tell me what you want, and we'll see if we can do it." And
Yeah.
what you want, what you didn't want. And
It's
everything
amazing the difference it makes. Yeah. When you've actually got a parent on your side.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Did you see that comment from Kristen Melinda? Wow, it's oddly satisfying when they realize you were not exaggerating sometimes.
I did see that and I thought, yes. High five, totally, yes. Yeah.
Well, am I a bad person if I don't feel like doing the whole box breathing meditation thing?
No, you're not.
I don't think so. And there's plenty of meditation on YouTube. Just look up box breathing meditation. It'll be there. You know, we can have someone else lead us
I'm
in
meditating
that next
just fine right now.
time. Yes.
I've been
That's
watching
really
All
pretty
Creatures
too.
Small and just
The new one or the old one? The original one?
the old one. We
I
used
like
to
the
rush
old
home
one.
from church and watch the old one.
Yeah.
I remember my daughter changed schools and she got a new principal, or the principal that was there, a vice principal. And they were trying to get her we're having a conference, like they didn't even know her, I think on her first day. And they knew that she had Jordan. He had just come in the picture maybe 6 months prior to that. And they said to me, the vice principal said, "I hear that your daughter has an autism service dog." And I said, "Yes." She said, we have tons of ASD kids in the school and none of them have service dogs. And I looked at her, and if I could have jumped across the table, I would have. And I just looked at her and said, "I don't care whether one or all of your kids have them. If it benefits my daughter, she got it. And I'm sorry you have a problem with it." And my goal was to eventually have him in the school. And she was taken out of there and put in another school that was much better for her. But I think that with our kids, when it comes to food issues or whatever it is, we have to stand in that gap and say, if it works for my kid, it works for my kid. I'm not worried about anybody else's kid. I'm worried about my own. And I don't care whether all of them had service dogs or not. It made her life easier. It made my life easier. So if you don't understand it, I can't help it. I couldn't believe that vice president said that.
Yeah.
It was like horrible.
So rude.
Yeah, it was rude. And uneducated, I may add.
Yeah. Do you guys feel like we've had a meeting? I know I feel like I definitely have had a meeting.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to,
I think I think it's a topic that needs to be continued.
Definitely.
About how body image is and how food is and how you use that to cover pain.
Yeah.
Because I think people just say, well, don't eat. Well, that's really hard if you're dealing with the, whatever's going on.
And you have to eat, otherwise you starve and you die. Hello. Yes, uneducated educator. Totally.
Oh, I got tons of them.
I've got to go too. So,
yes.
Rose, thank you. Good to see you. Love you too.
And so see
and
you
Tommy
next
can come back on whenever he wants to.
Yes.
He can come on.
Yeah. All
Yes.
right. I'll see you guys next meeting. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks,
Bye.
Rose.
All right. Have a good day, everybody.
You too, Mary. Good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Well, guys, this was a great meeting. Amazing. And I feel like we just barely scratched the surface. I really do, you know? So yeah, we will do this more. Definitely. You know, a lot of us are, in various stages of recovery from drugs and alcohol, but it's very easy to turn to food when you leave off one thing. I mean, you've got to replace it with something. And it can go in either direction, trying to take control by not eating, or by eating more than is healthy. So yeah, we definitely need to keep this conversation going. And I appreciate each and every one of you for the beautiful sharing that you've done, and the beautiful work that we are doing. And I love you guys so much. And I thank you for being part of this. I really do. You guys are amazing. 3:40 Central Time every day. 3:40 is Central Time. So Eastern, it would be 4:40. Mountain Time, it would be 2:40. Pacific Time, it would be 1:40. So I guess Ben is 2:20 is in the Mountain Time or Pacific Time. Don't know. Anyway, I love you guys. Hope to see you next meeting. And until then, peace, y'all.